when you're going into a relationship with someone who's celibate, it's very much like you know what you're getting yourself into. Welcome back to our channel. My name is Max.
I'm Maya.
And
this is our daughter Saga.
Saga. Hello Saga. Say hi.
So it's just the two of us. She wants to be here, so she's here.
Yeah, we don't have any babysitters. We're trying our best to make this work in the life of Max and Maya and Saga. And today's video is about our relationship and how two individuals, very different individuals, end up together in a strong, healthy relationship that we constantly working on, obviously. I also want to point out that this video is not about us bragging on how great everything is, how we never have any issues. We do have that, and we also share that in previous videos. This is just a time for us to share our past history in relationships and how we ended up together and how we've sort of grown together in that.
Yes. This video is sponsored by Seed, which is a probiotic, and I thought it was great to tie them into this video since we are talking about healthy relationships, health, healthy gut, the list goes on. But what I really like about this company is they are heavily invested into research and development. He knows I'm a geek when it comes to my rabbit holes and my study bunny hat. She out here. I'm outside because we don't have that much daylight, and what little daylight we do have, I need to take the most of it. And I've been that much more aware of my health because I am a mom, and I'm breastfeeding a little one who is sucking the life force out of me. So I'm that much more aware of my health, my hydration, and the nutrients. Seed is your daily symbiotic, which is a probiotic and prebiotic in one. Now, a probiotic is a microorganism and it is alive. Now, Seed has invested heavily into research and development to ensure that their microorganisms arrive to your gut alive. I'm big on microorganisms. I have a compost. I compost as a hobby and a passion. She's very passionate about her compost, her hot compost. So shout outs to Seed. And they're really big on sustainability. Their ethos, their branding, their vision is so in line with Max and myself that I had to get on board. And look, like, it's winter. Her skin and her hair are thriving, okay? You get 60 capsules that will last you 30 days, and the probiotic is designed to help regulate your metabolism, synthesize vitamins, suppress inflammation, neutralize pathogens, and improve overall immunity. Their trademarked ViaCap is designed to ensure that your probiotic arrives alive to where it matters the most, your gut. Their probiotics are dairy-free, meat-free, gluten-free, allergen-free, and vegan.
Their packaging come in compostable.
Oh yes. This is the packaging. You were talking about this.
It's so good, and you can refill these every month.
For your chance to save 20% off on their monthly subscription, use the promo code MAYAMAX, and we'll have all the links in the info box below.
Thank you, Seed.
Thank you, Seed.
Healthy relationship. Would you say that we are an example of a healthy relationship?
Okay, you do it. You do it. Mr. Wise Guy. I think so. I hope so.
Do you know why you're saying that? It's because you have suffered so much. You know that we both suffered a lot. Yeah. So we deserve to say that we are in a healthy relationship. It feels good as an affirmation to say that we have a healthy relationship. When that's something that I certainly, I don't know about you, have never been able to say to myself. At least not believing it in itself. What is it about our relationship that makes it healthy?
Ooh, I would say the number one thing that makes our relationship healthy is our communication and trust. Like, I've been in past relationships where, because the communication, there's many reasons why it wasn't healthy, but the communication wasn't there. We didn't have really good communication skills. Trust wasn't there, so then you start to second guess. You know, I think that those are something that we have. I mean, communication can always be worked on, but I think we have a really good foundation of at least expressing how we feel. Yeah, and I trust you. Like, I trust Max beyond measure.
It's interesting that you're mentioning trust, because I feel like I had a lot of jealousy in my previous relationships, and I think one of the reasons it's obviously something that I had to work with myself. But when I met you, who I was so madly in love with from such an early stage after I met you, it's interesting because I thought that the person that you were, how beautiful you were, how successful you were, how charming and funny you were like the best example of someone that I would be super jealous of. But for some reason, I was never.
Why aren't you jealous then?
Because I trust you.
Why is that?
Because I've committed to something. I've committed to a relationship that I know that I did from a sake of like pure love, that I'm so well invested in that relationship that I have to trust you and myself for doing those choices. I think that's primarily the reason why I'm not jealous anymore on you. There's obviously I'm a human, so there are moments where I am jealous, but quickly I've been able to address that to you. We've been able to talk that through, and that's just been like a what would you call it, like a feeling.
What did you learn about your past relationships that you've taken with you into this relationship?
Well, the jealousy thing has been clearly something that I've learned from my own mistakes, clearly, because usually when you are jealous, you project the feeling that you have on the other person, making it about them as opposed to yourself. So it's like easy to like project your feelings as to claim that other person is like doing wrong, and questioning everything they do. So whenever those feelings reoccur, I'm able to address that by communicating to you, because I've learned from being maybe not always so nice. When you're jealous, you're not really a nice person. You get very bitter and sometimes short, and I think that being in that state makes you feel bad, and you learn from that. Yeah. If that makes sense. Okay. What about yourself?
I think the biggest thing I've learned from my past is my patience. I can always work on my patience. I have lots of patience to work on. But previously, because I was impatient and they were impatient, we could never see eye to eye. And I'll say in the beginning of our relationship, I'm going to put her back on. Putting her on the boob. Patience. Patience. So because in the beginning of our relationship, I had those same habits that I had of like getting angry, let's just say angry. I didn't get angry right away with you because you were so you were so wholesome and so kind. I couldn't be the Taurus that I was. Like I typically would like just lose it, but with you, something about your energy made me see my own flaws. It's like because you weren't fighting back with me, right, I could see how ridiculous I was being. So then that allowed me to pause, and I'm like, oh shoot, I have to really work on this. Now I will say, as our relationship goes on, that calm Max is not as calm, and so we do get into arguments. But I would say it's a good reference point for me to strive towards. But because in the beginning,
me too, to strive for that, Max. That's a good place to be in. Yeah,
but it's also like yeah. But I think that was what I took from the past. Like I was like, oh shoot, Maya, you got it. I already knew I have ish to work on. But the problem is when you're a single person, how much work could you possibly do on yourself before you put it into practice? So I was doing all this self work. And then you think you've done all the work, but then you're in a relationship and you're like, oh yeah, we're out there on the field. Does this homework stick?
So it's like kind of similar to us. Like the thing that we've learned has been it's
self-reflection.
It's a self-reflection upon something that doesn't make us feel good. It's something that we brought into a relationship, and now being able to like locate it when it's like there, and then maybe talk about that.
What I will say, what makes our relationship unique compared to my previous relationships, is our foundation of a friendship first.
Yeah.
Like when we first met, we met in Colombia, and I was solo traveling, you were solo traveling, and it's just like two loners crossing paths, and you made me laugh so much, and we just when I met Max, I'm like, wow, I've met a really good friend.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I've said that for any of my past relationships.
And I think there's 3 components that make that thing like why we could focus on that. And first thing I think is like how far away we are from each other.
Okay,
like,
the stakes are high.
The stakes are high. So when we learn that there is an age gap between us, when there is a career difference between us, when there's a long distance between us, those are the 3 main components, I think. Yeah. But then there's something else that we haven't talked about.
Oh yes, we haven't addressed until now.
Yeah, which is you were
celibate.
Yeah, when I met you, and you addressed that to me when we had
our very first.
Well, because we went to have dinner that night as
date?
friends.
Would you call that a date? A friend date?
Well, you thought it was a date.
I was like, I hope he doesn't think this is a date because he was wearing a button-up shirt.
So I brought my button-up shirt, which is like a chill-out button-up shirt.
But it was a button-up
shirt. You coming with your Bob Marley tank top with your, your flip-flops but that was fine. I wasn't like, I never felt like, oh wow, I really put on a shirt here. Why why are you making
that was
effort?
just a
No,
casual,
it was a casual thing, but you thought that.
I thought that.
But that dinner that we had. But at that dinner we had, you shared that with me.
I did.
Yeah. So with those
shared the celibacy.
That you were celibate.
Yes. Yeah.
So what's so interesting about that is that I got to know you with no like.
Right. There was no like
what do you call it? Like no
carrot dangling. Like you could get his ass tonight.
Exactly.
You didn't have that.
No, it was no distractions, and I think that society puts so much pressure on us to be like to be physically attractive to one another, to make a move in order to get what we want, and which is usually sex. So sex becomes such a drive in the communication when you're dating or when you're out hunting. When I knew that that was not gonna happen, I could completely be myself and like just focusing on who is Maya, and this girl is making me laugh so damn hard. She's so beautiful, but it was Maya, and I think the celibacy honestly was a major. I'm really grateful for that because I think that also allowed me to commit.
Right, because
it's like sorry, I don't want to I'm not interrupting you, but it's like when you're going into a relationship with someone who's celibate, it's very much like what you're getting yourself into. It's not that I found out 3 months after that you were celibate. I'm like, I'm out of here. Yeah. Like I knew when I wanted to be exclusive with you that we might not have sex until we get married. Right. Do you know what I mean? Like that
might not.
Might not. Yeah, but like you see what I mean? I never had intent. I didn't go into this relationship like I'm gonna convert her. Right. Yeah. I'm gonna make her change.
But some guys do.
Yeah, but I didn't.
But you didn't know. Well, I will say the reason why I shouldn't say the reason why. That is a benefit of being celibate. Now, like in retrospect, okay, since I've done it, I can look back at that Maya and say she was really just searching for the truth. She was doing her best to not get hurt, to follow her heart, and to practice some form of restraint in a society that places like none. Like there's nothing. I do think celibacy or maybe abstinence is definitely good for most people. But it allows you to focus on things like friendship, personality, just like other areas. You're able to weed through a lot of distractions. And that was a long time I was celibate.
I was actually about to ask you how long. What was it? 6 years? But then 1 year with.
Oh. 1 year with a bit of something in between. It depends what you define.
When people ask me like, how did you know? It was like, for me, it was clearly like when there's so many obstacles listed.
But there's still such ease.
Yeah, but like there's still like I have to be with her.
Right.
Like I can't
and that's
control
what I
it.
was just like, because at the time I was like, you know, I had another option, as we like to make fun of.
Yeah. Like the circumstances that I met Maya was like beach club. She's walking around in a bikini. She's tan. She's beautiful. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like she's like out of my league. And then she tells me like who she's dating at the time. And I like go on his Instagram because, you know, I'm a creep. And I see like the profile picture and it's like, you know, tricep pose with a cap on, you know, chest muscles like bounce out of frame of the profile.
It's being dramatic.
And I'm like, oh, she's one of those, is she?
So on my side of that was, you know, there's this guy who's making X amount of money, has all this stuff. And then you had like your summer job as a cleaner.
Yeah.
Despite that, you're buying tickets on your credit card to see me in Los Angeles. And like, we have like it was like a 9-hour time difference. And you're like, we're still finding
ways to
like
communicate.
To me, like you're calling me on your bike to work at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
While I'm going to bed or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we made it work naturally.
Made it work. Because I had to talk to Maya. I was obsessed. Like I was working at the time as a cleaner because that was like a transition period from London to Berlin. So I was like, I got this job from a friend that I know from my hometown. I was like, I just need something so I can like live with my mom and like pay something. And like while doing so, like it's kind of like a robotic work already. I loved it on so many levels. Like the people I met there was amazing and so kind-hearted and all that. But like that moment I got with Maya, which was like before she went to bed, she gave me like 3 hours and I had my headphones while I was doing the cleaning. I was like, best 3 hours of the day. Like I just went to bed at night to like I look forward to talk to you in the morning. On your bike to work. So I would call you at 4:45 or something. Yeah. I got to work at 5, talking to you, and then, you know, and then sometimes if I were lucky, you were doing a late night, I could even call you after work. Right. On my way home. Yeah. And best for me, times like ever, like reminiscing. Like before you, Saga, you weren't even a thought. Yeah, not even a thought. And for me, like there was something so endearing about you being a cleaner. And it wasn't so much the cleaner part, but I'm like, he has a job as a cleaner for the summer because he doesn't want to just do nothing for the summer. But you had a work ethic. Like some people might be like, oh, he's like, you're out of his league, Maya. But I'm like, yeah, but he's not lazy. Like he's working. Like that says something. Like he's not just freeloading. He's literally showing up and waking up early. I'm like, those are qualities of someone who has drive, but maybe needs like a little door opened on like other possibilities. And because I come from the world of what ifs, I'm like, well, what if, you know, what if he was introduced into something else? And sure enough, like here we are and we work together now. It's funny because I went to school for acting, but Maya introduced me to filmmaking. Yeah. Like videography. And you already had a passion for films. Yeah, like a big passion. He's a film geek. Yeah. But went to school for acting. Yeah. But I went to school for acting too, so. We all went to school for acting. What makes this relationship work as well as it does? I would say it's the friendship. Yes. I think is like huge. Friendship on top of chemistry. Because it's like, you could be friends, but if there's no chemistry. Yeah. Because I have lots of friends. But we had chemistry. We have chemistry. And I think that we just generally enjoy each other's company a lot. And I think that's you know, I think that's, a lot of people would say like, yeah, but that's all relationship, but I don't think that's true. And I'm not saying that ours is better than that, but I have a lot of friends who really value their me time. And I'm not saying that I don't. Oh yeah, yeah. But like a lot of my friends, they are like, oh, I can't wait. She's traveling to the beach resort while I travel to New York. That's how we like to travel. We like to travel separately with things that we like, enjoy. We just happen to enjoy doing everything and nothing together, like all the time. Yeah. And I think that's, you know, we get tired of each other. We do butt heads, but I think that
we're doing pretty good for a couple that's with each other like 24/7.
Yeah.
What else?
I think humor.
Humor. We laugh so much. And we have not just humor, shared sense of humor. Like, we laugh at the same things.
We even finish each other's
sentences. I'm sorry, Saga. She's like, y'all are corny. No. Guys, I'm sorry. She's just going through it.
Well, it's crying. I'm so sorry.
Saga, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Poor child. That being said, us being in our healthy relationship, I do think we still need work.
Yes,
and I think
always.
In a healthy relationship, two people are willing to do the work.
Yes.
In previous relationships, you know, I'll speak for I was previously married and I knew we needed help and I wanted to get help, whatever, read books, go to therapy, and I was willing to do all this work and he wasn't, and that's fine. Like, whoever wants to do the work, go ahead and do it. But at a certain point, when you do all the work and you work through all your own BS, then you're like, okay, I'm doing all this stuff and we're still having problems and you're still not addressing your issues. Now that's where it becomes an issue. And so I think in our relationship, we do have challenges, but we're both willing to work through it because we're both committed to this relationship. Yeah,
it's like we're understanding the importance.
Yeah.
If there's something, because we have had big arguments, like that's not a secret. Like we've had, and then I think, you know, that usually after a big argument, there's a lot of things, a lot of growth after that. That there's all like, then when we're completely vulnerable and we've had like a burst, like we've just had to share whatever we felt, it usually comes with a very beautiful like outcome.
Yes.
I think.
And I will say it's when the dust settles, when we're both like hurt.
Yes.
Is when we make growth. It's not, the growth doesn't come from the disagreements and the arguing. No. It comes when you're both like, you're vulnerable, you're hurt, you're both hurt, and like when you love each other, you don't want to see the other person hurt. No. And that's when you look at yourself and your ego and you're like, it's not worth it. No. And my partner is hurt, I don't want them hurt. No. And so then the thing that I want to work on is I don't want to go to those places. Oh, that's a good thing to end up. And for me, like what I want to work on is being vulnerable. Like instead of saying you did this, which is an easy tendency to do, it's more like, this is how I feel. And not coming from, because I can easily go from a place of like soldier, like warrior. And I have to learn on being like vulnerable. I'm like, I'm hurt and this is why I'm hurt. Yeah. This is how I feel. And those are the times I don't like it. No. Because then it's like I'm weak and I'm like, I don't want to be weak. Yeah. But that's how we grow. Yeah. And if I got to choose something that I want to work on, it's very similar to that too. That whole thing, you did this, you did that. Yeah. And just to own up to what you're feeling and acknowledging that your partner is feeling something. Yeah. But what I really want to like be completely specific, to specifically want to get better at is do not take things so personal when it's in a heated conversation. Right. So like know that your partner is in a state of like emotional you know, turbulence. Don't think that what she's saying is now like definite or like, you know what I mean, definitive and like don't seek for an apology or don't seek for her understanding when things are as it is. Learn how to move away if there's something happening and then come back when you're both vulnerable and calm and when you realize it yourself. That's definitely something I want to work on. And yeah, that's where we are. So I really enjoy this conversation. Yeah, this is a good conversation. It's a good conversation. It's a good one. It's a strong. No, but I seriously think that this is very helpful for us. Yeah. I hope this was somehow inspiring, helpful, or not for you. Let us know in the comments below. We finished it. Let us know in the comments below what helps you in your relationships. What have you learned? Because we're all out here learning.
Yes.
So, and we read your comments. And again, thank you for those of you that are commenting. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button.
You know, yes.
Yeah, you know.
You know, Saga, do you have any last words?
She done farting. She done tugging at the nipple. She just done. She out for the count. We're going to bed. Good night.
Go to bed. Good night. Bye.
Good night, Tato.
Good night, Tato.